Hello, hello, hello. All right, it's the witching hour. What's going on, everyone? Who we got in here so far? Who's early birds? Fucking James, Punks, Bob. What's up, Bob? Jake. What's up, Jake? Chaos Boat, Chaos Goat, Costco. What's up, dude? JD. Who else? Who else? Who else? Matt, what's going on? I'm sure people are filing in. So earlier today, I played like a crust and total war metal totalitarian sodomy playlist, and I made a cool cover. I used World Burns to Death totalitarian sodomy cover, but I put Trump's face over Bush's, and there's a lot of crazy things in that picture. I didn't think they would cat. Oh, got a copyright. I mean, not copyright. I got a strike warning. Too much totalitarian sodomy going on in that picture. They didn't like it. So yeah, my video is gone, and they didn't like it. So kind of weird, huh? Kind of weird. Anyway, the totalitarian sodomy was too much for the Facebook and YouTubes and all that. But we'll get back. We'll get back at that. All right, so let me get through a couple things here before we get into the show, the main show. So I got this book finally. It's the POV Voices from the Underground by Marco Campali. I hope I said that right. Maybe not, but Marco from Italy. It's just a pretty cool book, man. It has lots of interviews in it from like regular black metal fans and people in bands or whatever. But it's on Amazon. And if you want to order it, you can get it from Amazon. It's in English and Italian, so make sure you order the right copy. Oh, the video is still available? I guess it was the thumbnail. They didn't like that thumbnail. Anyway, so here we go. Yours truly. I bookmarked it so I don't have to fumble through it. There I am. And a long interview, too, let me tell you. Y'all recognize that goober in the back? Who is that? Sticking his little head up over that amp. Damn fucker. You're in a book now, Fraser. Yeah, Zeus is in it too. Zeus has from Plutonium Shore. Actually, Zeus is the one that told the guy to interview me. So here we go. Found it. Zeus from Plutonium Shore. Picture of Hod when he was in Hod. That was at the remember this one, Jeff? I know you're backstage, but at the Watain show in Austin, it had the spectacular thunderstorm and rain. We're all soaking wet here. There's Bear, Zeus, me, and Zeus's wife, Alicia. And so, yeah, check it out if you want to check it out. You can get it through Amazon. Get it through Prime. It'll be there in 2 days or so. All right, let's bring Jeff on. No more sliding down, falling off there. There we go. Hey, Jeff.
Hey, how you doing? Hey,
good,
everybody.
Good, man.
Good to be back. Don't have a whole lot of big stories, but do have one thing that we'll be talking about a little bit later. I guess once everybody's here. I want you all to sit down with me. I've got something important to say. No, but we're here tonight to jam some Bathory and talk about Bathory-related things. So that's pretty much the idea. Hey guys.
Yeah, everybody's rolling in.
We're rolling in. Perfect.
Hey, fucking sick Nick. What's
up?
Dude?
Thanks for joining us as always. It's great to see everybody. Jeff Metal. Yeah.
Jeff.
Yes.
Metal.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, I think I may have joked about this on here before, but you know how there's always like an endless supply of dudes who go by Metal Mike. Like one for every city. I was like, I want to do a Jeff version, like call myself like Cause of Jeff, or Total Jeff, or something like
Total
that.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carl doesn't sound as cool. It needs to be like this a one syllable thing. So that's why we go with Necron. That just sounds better.
Totally.
Whatever. So yeah, man, Bathory, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
it's just
I would
the
say
anniversary.
the greatest black metal band, right? Probably.
Well, probably the most critical.
Yeah, to me, that's a better way to say it.
Yeah.
Like I love Venom, and I still say Venom is black metal. I know we don't gotta get into all that, but I think for like influence and what really influenced what became black metal, you got to go with Bathory on that.
Yeah, I look at it, and full disclosure, I've said this before. I am actually not a fan of Venom. I understand that they're really important. I understand they influenced a whole bunch of bands that I worship, but I never really liked them because
That's a
to
shame.
me,
We're playing Venom all night.
damn, wrong show. Shit.
This
Got
is
our
the
wires
Venom
crossed.
appreciation special.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't hate them or anything, but it wasn't, I didn't feel like it was like fully realized because it was still coming out of a new wave of British heavy metal. And I felt like Bathory, who was clearly, especially on the first album, influenced by Venom, they took it to the next level that it needed to arrive at, which then, in my opinion, set the template for what is colloquially known as the second wave of black metal, even though I don't agree. I think that it's just kind of a continuum. Like TT from Abigor is very hot on the fact that there's no such thing as a second wave of black metal. He said it's all just black metal.
It's all black metal.
I tend to agree. But yeah, I think Bathory is what really
Let
made
me
it.
think about that. I could see second wave like maybe in the music industry public eye, when it blew up again. But yeah, I mean, it really is just all black metal in the end.
Yeah.
Black metal is black metal. Yeah.
Exactly. Using big words and shit. I do that all the time, man.
You don't know Jeff very well, did?
I'll tell you a quick story that was just, I forgot about this completely. But by the time I was in 7th grade, I was reading taught myself to read when I was 3. So by the time I was in 1st grade, I was reading at a 10th grade reading level. And by the time I was in 7th grade, I was reading at a college reading level. And you could totally hear it on me. I basically talked like a robot because my vocabulary was so dense. And kids in my class would go, well, do you read the dictionary for fun? I'm like, no, I just only when I need to verify a word, But
when I need to reference it.
Yeah, exactly. So the way I learned to offset that is I finally got really friendly with swearing, and so I would still use all the dictionary words and then pepper it with fucks and shits to undercut it. And that's kind of how I struck a balance when I was a kid, and no, I know, but it's funny because people have commented on it before. No, I didn't take that badly. But yeah, I had to learn how to swear to counteract that because I was realizing that I was completely losing people, and I got tired of being made fun of. I realized I basically sounded like C-3PO when I was about 12 years old.
I don't know. Yeah, that's not a good thing, dude.
Yeah. So
C-3PO is not male masculine.
Yeah. I didn't have the voice, but I definitely had the vocabulary. It was all upright. It's like, I am a protocol droid capable of 5
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Woo! All right.
Probably would have gotten further sounding like R2-D2, ironically.
R2-D2. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah. Chicks would have probably liked that better if I could like click and whistle. But anyway.
Oh yeah, that would have been totally entertaining. Then they would have been like,
nobody liked Star Wars back then, though. That was just for little boys.
What?
Oh no, chicks did not like Star Wars back in the 80s.
Oh, chicks! I said no one.
No girls like Star Wars. I'm sorry,
dude. These nerds nowadays got it fucking made. I'm fucking pissed because like all the shit I liked when I was comics and Star Wars and Conan, chicks fucking that was pussy repellent, dude. Like,
oh, I know.
They did not like shit like that at all, man. But now oh nerds, see, look right fucking here, Sherry, nerds are hot. LOL,
You go to these Comic Cons like San Diego Comic Con, and you've got like these model quality women cosplaying as Wonder Woman, or like even more revealing than that. And that, remember, you and I used to go to like local Comic Cons, and it was just dudes.
rows of comic book boxes on
boxes
top of
comic books.
Yes. Long boxes is what they call them. Bunch of comic book long boxes on top of tables for miles, and a bunch of dudes who would never get pussy in their life.
Yeah.
Me excluded. Nah.
And you just go dig through and find all these really great comic books.
Yeah, for sure.
That was it. And there's no women anywhere.
There was.
I mean, there'd be like maybe one, but she weighed like 300
I was
pounds.
just gonna say it's usually like like a necro heifer. It's just like
Yeah,
I'm a fucking hot bitch around here. Well, no,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
you're the only thing that doesn't have a penis around here either. Congratulations.
Yeah, Slayer used to be woman repellent. I no
Yeah.
girls at my school like my Slayer shirt. It's very true. Definitely didn't they definitely didn't like the butchered at birth Cannibal Corpse shirt. I can tell you right
Oh yeah, death metal shirts, thrash metal shirts. Those were total repellents for most chicks. Now,
Yes, yes.
luckily, certain schools in San Antonio, you know, had chicks who like metal, but they
Hmm.
weren't what I from what I understand. Holmes used to have before I went to Holmes, there was a good like chick metal scene, but then it was by the time I was in high school, it was glam. So if there were chicks
Yeah,
in the metal, it was glam, and come on. I mean, I
yeah.
was already like into Slayer, and fucking Dark Angel, Possessed, and that was not going to be like hot chick like, oh, that's a Seven Churches shirt. Wow, that's
Yeah.
just not going to happen back then.
Yes. I mean, yeah, you guys, if you're under 35, you may know how lucky you are, but every fan culture now has a notable population of women in it. And then
Yeah,
on top of that, you got hot and cold running porn. You got the naked lady dispenser known as Instagram. I mean, it's just endless. There's just endless access. You know,
yeah. That's what I was saying. It's almost too easy. Maybe that's why some of these kids are just so fucking socially awkward because everything's too easy for them,
You'd
dude.
you'd think it would be the other way around, but
You would
yeah,
think.
it's like really weird and how polarized it is. I mean, anyway, I don't know. I could go on about that all night, but it's just so hilarious. It's like all these things that you and I were into, like sci-fi and horror and comic books and death metal, and no women anywhere. And now there's women in all of that stuff. I mean, that's great. That's cool. But it's
Well,
just
yeah,
like,
it's better now for sure. I mean, it's
well,
good.
yeah,
It's healthy for everything that that to have like females involved in it, not just all dudes. If it's all
yeah,
dudes, it's gay. I mean,
yeah.
that's basically what the world is. If it's all so, yeah.
It also figures that nowadays, like when there's like a sex scandal with the teacher, she's like a hot 26-year-old, and that never would have happened when we were in high
It's like those memes, like when they'll say the gym teacher back in the '80s,
school.
and it's like
Sylvester
some
Stallone.
yeah, or some
Yeah.
like professional wrestler dude with long
Yeah.
hair and then they're like now they're all hot. I mean,
Yes.
how traumatized can these fucking dudes been? I mean, I'm sorry, dude, but
Well,
that's
I wouldn't. I thought about that before because it keeps happening. Like these women teachers like sleeping with their. I don't know why we're talking
she's
about this
right.
now.
Ruby's right. 26-year-olds back then, 26 year
Yeah,
olds look
26 like
40.
40. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true. But I'm thinking like, okay, these teenage guys, they're not so much traumatized as they're just sort of head fucked because that's like you know how like when apparently like F1 drivers when they drive a regular car, they could go like 120 miles an hour in the car and it feels like they're going 30.
yeah.
Everything is slowed down and like they can't get away from that. I'm sure that's what it is for like you're a 16-year-old dude and you're nailing your 27-year-old teacher. Not only are you with this woman, but it's like really a transgressive conquest because it's your teacher. Like, where do you go from there? How do you kind of like
Oh,
reassimilate
I
and
see.
then have a regular relationship with someone your age after that? You're always going to kind of
Your
just have that big
expectation
wall.
level and like
Yeah,
yeah. I guess I never looked at it that way, but
yeah.
yeah.
I mean, world keeps turning. I don't know what to say about that,
World keeps turning.
but like I said, there's there's eligible women out there everywhere in every fan culture now. So there's no excuse. I was also thinking about this the other day. I was joking about how there really is someone for everyone out there. I actually I've always been into true crime, and I was going, God, every serial killer that you can think of, not all of them, but some notable ones like Green River, who had the highest body count ever. He was married and he had kids and everything. It's like
Isn't that crazy?
there's somebody for everybody. If the Green River killer can find a woman, so
Yeah,
that's my message tonight.
and
Irrespective of
it's
that.
true. I mean, there is someone. Some people maybe think their standards might be a little too high, from what they
Yeah.
think they're gonna get. And it's like, hey, maybe if you just lower your standards, like you might sign for someone, you're not gonna get a fucking model or something,
Yeah.
And same with some of the chicks too. They think that, like fucking, whoa, 3K, 6'6", and fucking built like Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
Like, come on, people, get your heads out your asses.
Yeah. One hot teacher. You're right. We had one of those back in high school, but that was it. She was the only one.
I'm trying to think if there was. I don't think there was in my school.
Yeah. And then her husband got her pregnant, and then she had to leave. That I was like, we're going, goddamn right, I got her pregnant. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I met my current wife through the music scene, so
yeah, there you go.
That's how it goes. But she was actually like one of the originals of the old metalhead chicks that went to all. Jeff knows all this. Like went to all the shows. Like she saw fucking Metallica and Raven.
Wow, that's cool. That was what, 84?
She was, yeah. The bar or whatever the club was like within walking distance of her house, so she just could just walk on over and see Metallica and fucking Raven.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we are old. Oh, I am, but
I'm up there. I'm gonna be 51 next month. So
yeah, you crossed the barrier. So whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, dude? I was thinking like a while back, like, I'm burning out, maybe I'll chill. And now I'm like, I'm fucking motivated. I like playing. I'm having fun,
Excellent. That's good to hear.
Yeah. So until, everybody tells me, dude, what the fuck are you doing? This is terrible. Stop. Why not,
Yeah. Do we want to play a couple of songs for everybody? To get this
we could just because we are supposed to be here about Bathory. I'm sure people from elsewhere.
Yeah,
what the fuck are these dudes talking about?
Yeah,
talking
about being molested by teachers. What the fuck?
Welcome to the witching hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, Bathory, one of the most important bands, I think, in metal, definitely in black metal, and we'll talk about some more things. But let's play a song. I'm just gonna let it be random and from a list I made, and we'll just let it fucking play.
Perfect.
Let's see what we got. do. Let me fix this real quick. There we go. All right.
Yeah.
Hey, fucking Harold, what's up? Asian pressing. Yeah,
Yeah.
this Satan My Master comp is pretty good. It has all the boot stuff and all the Scandinavian metal attack and all that stuff all put on there. So it's a cool little comp if you get. I know there's 1,000 Bathory boot comps that have all that shit on there, but if you can pick this one up, it's nice.
Yeah, definitely. That looks cool. I I mean, it's you also it's that funny phenomenon where you're always trying to rebuy a band's material, like all the classic stuff, and like anytime you see a re-edition or a special edition or some weird,
Metalheads are suckers.
you're like, oh my god, I gotta buy it again.
But this one comes with the fucking leather bound whatever, and it's we just do it. I know.
Nuclear War Now built an empire on that principle.
Who did?
And Nuclear War Now.
Oh
built
yeah,
an
for
empire
sure.
on
Yeah,
that
he sure
principle.
did. He fucking sure did, man.
So
So yeah, that's obviously from Scandinavian Metal Attack, the original comp from way back that you first got our first dose of Bathory from way back when. I never had an original of that. I'm not that fucking cool, but yeah, that's a great jam, and like probably it's the best fucking song on the fucking comp too, man.
Yeah. I think that one was also on remember they put out those Jubileum editions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those have a bunch of these songs too.
Mm-hmm.
I just like this. Let me show it. That fucking silly art fucking rules.
Yes.
Court tone, but with the fucking yellow goat head on. That's fucking cool, man. Oh, yeah.
So that
yeah, dude. Harold, you would have loved the Tautarian Sodomy show. It's still on the YouTubes, apparently. They just tucked my thumbnail down. There's no thumbnail.
That's nice of them. At least they let the show stay up.
Yeah. It's like a boob too don't like it. All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, what do you think of that one, Jeff?
Well, I'm sorry, I lost you there. What'd you say?
Oh, what'd you think of that jam, Return of
Oh,
Darkness
no,
and Evil?
classic. Of course. I mean, that was one of the shot heard around the world kind of thing.
Francisco just earlier on his show was saying, "Hey, let's name some songs with badass drum intros." Well, shit, we forgot to save the Return of Darkness and Evil, dude.
Yeah.
Fucking heavy, man.
Totally. Very.
And Francisco, Overkill from. Oh no, someone did say that. Never mind. Overkill, the song, not the band.
Gonna be at the market. The metal market.
There's a metal market. Is it next weekend, Francisco, or this weekend? Let us know, or let the chat know.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we can go ahead and just talk
about why we're here. Okay.
Yeah. So there is a big backstory to the goat art for Bathory, the famous goat that's on the debut album. A lot of misinformation about it over the years. I'll say this much. Quorthon did purposely put out a lot of disinformation about himself and his content over the years. This is well known.
Yep.
But I'll give you the whole backstory because most of you have not heard this. Back in 2006, I was still doing a Versifera, and we were getting ready to put together what became our final album, Advent Parallax. And my wife Erica had an art magazine from the mid 80s called American Artist, and there was an article about an artist from New York named Joseph A. Smith. He goes by Jos A. Smith, so he doesn't get confused with the founder of Mormonism. Joseph Smith is a fairly common name. But Jos A. Smith had his artwork in several places in that magazine, and it was all very dark and very surreal and really unique. And Erica was already a fan of his work. And I found a piece that was featured in a full-page spread that became the cover of Advent Parallax. He painted it, or drawn and painted it. He did a combination of ink and paint. In 1977, it's a big rotting angel. And if you've seen our album, you know what it is. But it was perfect for us. And I called him up at the Pratt Institute in New York, which is a place where he was a tenured professor. And we got to talking on the phone, and it was hilarious because I knew he was an illustrator, and I knew he'd done, among other things, some children's books as well, aside from his own really dark-looking fine art. And I was scared to death that he was going to be offended that I had reached out to him, or like, no, I don't want anything to do with that crap, whatever.
Yeah.
I had a bad experience with a previous artist, a fine artist that I tried to work with, or I approached him about working with this, and he was really shitty to me. So I was very nervous. And yeah, it's the album with the white cover, yes. And I called him on the phone, and he very quickly, I just said, hey, I'm in this rock band, and we found
rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's how you ease them, man.
Found this piece in this magazine, and we were wondering if we could license it from you. And he's like, oh, man. He's like, I didn't think anyone would ever come calling me about that so many years later. And then he very quickly went on to explain how he does shamanistic trances and self-hypnosis and vision quests to come up with all his artwork. And it turns out the guy's a mage. And very quickly I just went, oh, okay, let me actually tell you what this band is really about. And he was totally with it. And keeping in mind, he was in his late 60s at the time. But he was all about it. He wanted us to use it. And then we became friends very quickly. And we were collaborating together. And I remembered a book. You guys, some of you may have this book. And it's called Witches. Yeah, Carl has it there. It's a big coffee table book from 1981.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful book. Full of Joe's art. He illustrated it front to back. Yeah.
Amazing art.
It's incredible. It's really one of a kind. And so many demos lifted art from that book.
Thornspawn?
Oh, yes. Yeah, among other things. But there's a lot of famous images that you have seen that were hijacked from that book. So anyway, I got a copy of that book because I never owned one. I owned Giants and Gnomes, those two books, but not
have
Witches.
those as well.
Yes, and Fairies, not the same artist. That's Brian Froud, but it's part of the same series. Yes, so that one is Witches. That's Joe Smith's book.
Just let me know when you want me to.
Yes, I was paging through the book and we got to this image. Go ahead and hold it up for everybody. Right in the corner there.
Yeah.
Top of the page. That is a very familiar image. And I was like, huh, it's the Bathory ghost.
Yep.
And then I went, wait a minute. And I looked at the copyright of the book and it was 1981. And turns out Joe had done the artwork for that book probably in 79 and 80. And then I flipped to the back of the book and there's a poem in the back of the book for all those who died.
Yep.
Yeah, and yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah, there's some amazing images in this book. You can get it used on Amazon. It goes in and out of print. You can probably find it at half price books pretty easily.
That's where I got mine originally.
Really worth having.
Check out that cool embossing on the cover.
Yeah. Oh, S.A. Slayer.
Yeah,
the Slayer album, that's in there too. So a whole lot of bands use the artwork from this book.
They were definitely inspired by that art piece. Let me find it.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah. Anyway, Joe did not know that the goat that he drew had been Xeroxed and blown up and put on the cover of the first Bathory album, and that it had become an icon and had a life all of its own on bootleg T-shirts and back patches and tattoos and
all over the world, man.
All over the world.
Crazy. And he didn't even know.
Yes. So he was stunned to know this, but it was also fantastic because I was doing press for the new Sapphira album at that time. We were on Candlelight Records, so we had legitimate outlets.
Not the Slayer, but look at that art, man.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff. It's so dark. So I ended up doing a lot of interviews saying we're collaborating with the original Bathory artist, Jos A Smith. And that became like a talking point in all the press that I did for promotion of that album. And it finally reconnected the dots, and the underground community. That's that's the open version of the door from what became Prepare to Die by Slayer, but there's also a closed version of it floating around in there too, which became the actual piece.
Yeah, looking for it.
They just matted a goat skull over it instead of the black horns hanging down.
Yeah, I might know where in San Antonio that was taken.
Yes.
That'd be cool to find
Yeah,
out.
the goat on the back of the Return, the goats on the back of the Return are also in that book. It's actually Jake Holmes has met Mr. Smith, by the way, when we were up in New York, so he actually got to meet him before. But yeah, there's multiple images that Bathory hijacked. There's multiple images that everybody hijacked. It's called Witches.
Witches, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And again, the author is an author named Erica Jong, Jong. Joe illustrated the book. Erica Jong wrote the text in the book, but it's dominated by the illustrations. The
illustrations pull you in.
They're mind blowing.
Yeah.
You don't even need to read the text. You get the idea just from all these incredible pieces. Yeah, Jay can attest.
I sometimes wonder, Jeff, if the movie The Witch is inspired by this book.
I absolutely
mean, it has to be.
So. Yes.
It fucking has to be. Yeah.
Yes. Just as a side note, Joe Smith also collaborated with Giger, H.R. Giger, on a project right before Giger ended up doing Alien, and they did a bunch of concept work together for an unrealized film called The Tourist, which, as far as I can tell, some of that concept stuff, which was owned by the studio, and they could use it for whatever they want. I think some of it made it into that movie Naked Lunch by David Cronenberg, bunch of things like that. So he's been all over the place. Anyway, the reason all this matters is because Joe is, I think he's 83 now.
83.
And he's still around, and he is still doing art. And I reached out to him. We talk regularly, but right before Christmas time, I said, "Hey, Joe, what would you think about redrawing that goat from scratch, the original goat with the wings and the trident, the whole body, and just doing a new version of that we could do as a limited edition print, just because now everybody knows the story?" And he was all about it. And to my shock, he turned right around and re-rendered it like picture perfect. Like it looks exactly like the one in the book, except it's just black and white. So with his permission, we're doing a limited, I am overseeing it, doing a limited edition signed print of the original goat. There's also a album version of it as well. And that's the head and the horns and everything, like you guys know from the album. It doesn't say Bathory on it because it's not Bathory. It's Joseph Smith's Black Goat. But right now, I have started a Kickstarter. It's been up for about a week. And we figured that was the easiest way to do it, to just guarantee the quantities for order. Because, if with Kickstarter, you either I'm sorry. There it is.
Yeah, I pulled it up.
Yes, it's limited. So sorry. I don't know if I'm echoing. I'm hearing it.
Oh, probably because I'm sharing the fucking. Hold on, let me try something. In your room.
That's fine.
Yeah,
we're gonna put the link in the chat here, and
the link's in the description of the show.
Oh yeah, of the episode as well.
Yeah. So.
The reason it matters is because there's 50 of the full body goat. There's 50 of just the Bathory head and shoulders goat. Again, they will all be signed by Mr. Smith. And they are art grade prints suitable for framing. They're 12 by 12, so they're like literally album size. So you can album cover frame easily. $50 a piece. That is a steal for like signed artwork. I mean, you know this, Carl. You know the comic side of it. A signed print. Come on, that's
very cheap.
Yeah. And anyway, we're doing this because this is kind of just a way for him to sort of connect with the fan base. He has a whole lot of fine artwork that I'm handling for him, that sometimes thousands of dollars, for people who would like to own something of his. It's out of anyone's price range unless you're like an art collector, and we get that. So we wanted to do something for the underground, for fans of Bathory, and for fans of his work. And then you can say, I've actually got a piece of this history from the man himself. Yep, that's the link right there. It's important to spread the word on it because it has to be fully funded for the whole thing to go through.
Correct.
With Kickstarter, if they're not all bought up, then this doesn't happen. And there was initially 10 yellow goat versions that were announced. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm only getting to this now, but yeah, those were gone in like 10 minutes. So those are super, super rare, just like the Yellow Goat album itself.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's a good
yeah
thing to do.
I have examples of the prints, and I'll bring one out on the next break here after we put some music. But this is a big deal. Joe is near the end of his life. I mean, he's not going anywhere yet, but this
when you get to
this is the
age,
final chapter. And he's still producing artwork, and he did want to just do this. And again, there's only 100 of them. It's not like we're gonna make a king's ransom on this. It was mainly just to make something available to people who've always been fans of his work and
something official.
Something official that people could get a hold of. So it's 22 backers already. Cool. It's jumping up right away. Thank you guys. And even if you don't want to buy one, if you could spread the link around, that would really be appreciated.
Yeah, let's get this out to the underground, the people who would really appreciate something like this, because, I'm going to buy one. Because
I've been posting it up, and it keeps getting deprecated on social media, like Instagram and Facebook.
They want you to pay for everything. It's
right.
so ridiculous.
But I figure if enough people just spread the word, if you know somebody, just send them the link.
Yeah, you can't stop an organic movement.
Right. I'm trying to do this like the proper underground way, where it's word of mouth. We don't have a bunch of net nannies getting in the way or anything. And again, I'm handling the production and sending them out. Once everything's bought up, they will be signed and available in October, because I actually have to go up there, sit with them, get them all signed, take them back very carefully, and get them home. So Bathory never did play a live show. You were correct about that.
Yeah, I did not.
Anyway, so if you didn't know this story before, you know it now. The connection to the guy who created it. Every version you've seen of that Bathory goat, like on Under the Sign of the Black Mark, it is true that the guy on the front cover, the big muscle guy, he is standing on it's a big stage set for, I guess it was a version of
was that
Wagner's The Ring.
Yeah.
Yes, but that guy's not wearing a mask, even though that's what
they
just matted it over his head.
80s style, they just put it on there. Boop.
Yeah. So and in case any of you are wondering, Quorthon claimed that he came up with that artwork by doing a collage of a bunch of horror magazine images, and you look at that, that's not possible. That's one continuous image.
Yeah. If you look at the image in the book, it's exactly it. They just tuck it and cropped it. The rest of it.
And I think they kind of redrew it in at the bottom.
I think too, somebody used it for comic book art, like used the image. Yeah. But it's
been used many, many times.
Yeah, like I seen that image of whatever comic it is. They used the goat on there.
Yes.
Venom came out first, but this isn't really a discussion of Venom versus Bathory.
It's okay. I mean, whatever. We're just chatting here, but
yeah. I mean, like what you like. I don't care.
Yes. Quorthon's father did start Black Mark and ran it through till he died.
He's the boss. Yeah.
A journalist who interviewed me then turned around and actually tried to reach Black Mark for comment about the origin of the Bathory goat. And they conceded. They said, we don't have a way to confirm or deny that now, because Quorthon's the only one who knows the truth, and he's dead. So go ahead and tell the story however you want to tell it with the information you have. We're not contesting it, which is a very Swedish way to handle it. But so anyway,
the no fight is the answer. There you go.
Yeah, they always stay neutral, as we know. So So anyway, that's the deal with that. Like I said, it's running until July 6th. So there's still time to grab them. The prints are beautiful. Like I said, I'll actually have one set aside here that I can show you when we did a test print. And it's on really beautiful, like hand milled paper. Very kind of like good art paper with a little bit of texture and grit, and it just looks fantastic. The ink transfers just beautiful. So if you ever wanted like a pristine, again, art grade version of that image, this is your chance. And
By
again,
the artist who made it.
by the artist, signed by the artist, and limited to 100 worldwide. So this is it. If you want one, time to pledge. But I guess we can, yeah, I'll pull that up for everybody in a minute. I guess we should jam some more Bathory.
Yeah, I'll play some music and then maybe I'll just show the Kickstarter over it while we're jamming out, man.
Cool. Perfect.
All right, here we go. Let me know. It knocks out the music chat because I won't know. No, we're just doing the first 4 albums tonight because I feel like if I threw in the Viking stuff, it wouldn't go with the black metal theme.
Yeah.
JD.
Yeah.
So, and that could be a whole nother show in itself because the Viking era is fucking great too. I'm one of the people that love them both. So, but today it's just the first 4, the evil jams. Here we go. Which one to get, Rotten Punks? Get them both if you can.
Yeah,
He's
that's
like,
another option. I
yeah,
mean, they look great together. I mean, for what
frame
it's
them
worth,
both.
we did the Bathory edition just so people would have a choice, because some people just know that image from that, and we wanted to reclaim it on that level too, but with all the exquisite detail of the original drawing, not like the way it was redrawn, down near the bottom of it on the album. And all I'll say is just that if you want like the legit origin edition, the full body one is really special that way. But
I think that's the one I'm probably gonna get, dude.
yeah, I think it's
The
fitting.
Triton, the wings, and all that shit looks great, man.
Yeah, it's really, and again, he drew that this year, which
He,
is just incredible. And when you compare it to the one in the book, it's like exact. It's so, and he did it on what's called scratchboard, which is actually like a black piece of artboard, and he scratched in the detail, and he didn't use a white pen or anything. You scratched the top away, and there's white underneath, so it's beautiful. I
wow.
mean, and I have a version of it now. You can't fully appreciate
I'm gonna full
the,
screen, yeah, so we can
yeah,
see. Let me solo you out here.
yeah. You can't fully appreciate this from where I'm sitting, but the black point on this, I mean, this black is impenetrable. It is
Wow,
perfect
it's
black.
deep.
Yes. And
Midnight 666. Yeah.
and you can see the detail on it. I mean, there's all this like very fine.
Yeah, you don't get those in the bootlegs.
No, no, no,
No,
no, no,
yeah.
no. This
All
is
those hairs and all that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is very, very beautifully, exquisitely rendered from top to bottom, and it's incredible that he just redrew this from sight. He didn't trace it or anything. I mean, this is really lightning striking twice. Everybody, this doesn't normally
Yeah,
happen.
you're right.
So yeah, it's incredible, and he's I can't say enough about how cool he is about it. He's always had this kind of like I said, he's kind of a wizard that way, and he's always just been more fascinated that people were excited about it and that it went somewhere, outside of what he did with it.
Well, I mean, a bunch of like artists like when people connect with their art. I
Yes.
mean, we can all say, I'm just, underground, blah, blah, but, it's true. And, it is a good feeling when people get it and enjoy something that you pour.
Yeah.
Like, especially like an artist, like who draws and, just, it's cool. And I'm sure he loves hearing, like the enthusiasm for this, as well. Like
Hmm.
people are like, wow, it's amazing. I mean, 83-year-old dude, and he's like all these, metalheads are into something he created. That's
Yes.
awesome.
And the thing that's really funny is after the revelation of the Witch's Book connection came out, 2006, 2007,
So he
when
had no clue all these years.
no, he
This
did
was a
not.
thing.
He did not. I was his first legitimate contact into the metal underground, and which is incredible because when you see his work, I mean, I've got it
You
all
would
over
think.
my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's everything's spiky, everything's black armor, everything's demonic, and I mean, but in this really fine art surrealist way, kind of like H.R. Giger, not like fantasy art or anything
Yeah.
like that. It's legit fine art, but everything has spikes on it. Everything has weapons. Everything has armor and everything. You would think he was a metalhead, and his sensibility is metal, even when he didn't even realize it. Now he's like much more aware. Like he came. I'll just tell a funny story about that. He came to see us play at BB King's in New York City, which
I
was like
remember the
down
story.
in Manhattan, and it was a yeah, he was there. It was Rotting Christ, Immolation Belphegor Anniversapira. He came out for that, and the show was sold out. So he was like quite impressed, and got to come back and backstage and meet everybody like at Immolation and all of that. And that was really great. And just having him there. What music he listens to? He does not listen to metal. He likes classical and I think some like jazz, like Miles Davis and like really old stuff like that. I mean,
would make sense too.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was born in the 30s. So, um, but anyway, the point of that story is that at the time we had all the merchandise for the album that he did the work for, and all of his motifs were all over like the t-shirts and the hoodies and everything, and he was just so jazzed by all of it. And then he went to class on Monday where he was teaching, marched in all the Aversifera gear, and like,
I didn't know that part.
yes, with the
That's awesome.
LP, with the LP, and like held up. He's like, if you're wondering why I'm dressed like this is the new album that I am part of, and the whole thing. And then, and like the best part, I think, was that a couple of kids from his class came up and wanted to talk to him about it after class because they were actually fans of ours, and they're really excited to know that we were working together.
That is pretty fucking cool, dude.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. No, he's amazing, and like, I mean, this is irrespective of the art, but since we're talking about him, you know, you don't come away from meeting him unchanged. I mean, it's really like, it's like meeting Obi-Wan Kenobi. It really is. He's got just such an amazing aura, and he's such a kind and open
Do we even say,
person.
you know,
Huh?
do we even say like where he teaches and what, like all his accolades and all that?
Yeah, I talked about it. I mentioned
Okay.
he was teaching at the Pratt Institute in New York City. He's retired and has been for a number of years now, but he's a professor emeritus over there. Rob Zombie went to school there, and Rob Zombie, before he became kind of the obnoxious version we know now, he was a very good artist. He did all the artwork for the White Zombie albums and was really quite a good graphic artist. Yeah, he's done tons of art shows up on the East Coast and elsewhere. A British museum bought all of the original artwork from Witches and now has it in a dedicated museum in England, which is super cool.
Wow.
Okay, I'll tell another story about that part of it.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
You know, once Erica and I got to know Joe, he treated us like family. We would go up to visit him in Pennsylvania where he lived. He had this beautiful old house, Victorian style house, like what you'd expect a guy like that to live in. And he had all of his flat files of all of his art. Like he had just, 50, 60 years worth of art, that he still had, some of which he displayed, some of which he'd sold, some of which had been used for things, and he basically just let us raid the files and basically reorganize them because he's like, I haven't gone through some of this in years. If you guys find anything, or whatever, we can do this. And I said, if we find the Bathory drawing, he's like, it's yours if you can find it. And we're like, oh my God! So we're we're digging through the files, and we found all the Witches artwork, just about everything that's in that book that he hadn't like sold or parted with, and we did not locate the goat. It was not there, and he's like,
the slippery goat.
He's like, I think I gave that to a friend back in like 84 maybe, because it wasn't very big. It was just like little mini piece. And anyway, so that we never found the goat, and then now it's back, and that's the other thing that's great because that original piece was lost to history, and we could never do anything with it, like do a limited print or anything like that. So now it's back. The other part that's hilarious is that since people became aware of the original piece, that has now been bootlegged, and you'll see versions of Bathory shirts that are bootlegged with the
I've seen them. Yes.
Yeah, it's like they turned right the fuck around and rebootlegged that too. It's just like, man,
They're like, fuck it, we'll do the whole original piece now. Yeah.
He's not bummed about the money, I wouldn't say. I just saw that comment there. He's never been worried about that because he is a true artist in that he likes to sell pieces, but he always had a job working as a full-time professor. And the art was his passion. He was never looking. He's just like an underground metal musician. He never worried about making money.
Just a bunch of money off the band and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to do it because he wanted to do it. I'll allow that there was a point. I had a friend who was a metalhead and also a lawyer who said, you should at least try to like get Hot Topic to kick him some money because they sell Bathory shirts, you know,
No,
and
that's a corporation. That's different. Yeah.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. There was never any intention of going after Black Mark or anything like that, but he's like, yeah, you could probably get them to settle out with you really quickly. And I actually approached Joe about doing that, and he was interested. But then, thank you, Jake. It will look great. Yes, um, but basically, the way it went down is that I started laying the groundwork for getting him for us to legally approach Hot Topic and say, hey, give us a cut of this merch. And Joe just didn't follow up on it.
It was like, eh.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, he said, yeah, I'm for it, but then he just didn't get around to signing the papers. And it's not that he's a flake or anything. It's just not where his head is at. And ultimately, the whole thing just faded away because
It's more about the art. Yeah.
Yeah, he just wasn't. Ultimately, he just wasn't that worried about it, and I think that's fine. You know, I feel like I have single-handedly gotten the full story out with some help from some great journalists who ran with it after I told them. But I think you know the word is out now on who created that artwork. The credit is now where it's due, and again, this is something we're doing just to celebrate it and commemorate it. And you'll notice we didn't put on the Kickstarter. There's no mention of Bathory. We didn't put that name on there at all. So we didn't want to muddy the waters. We didn't want it to seem accusatory. We didn't want anybody to think it was like an official Bathory thing because it isn't. It predates Bathory. It's an official
that makes sense.
Jos A Smith release. So we were trying to be as cool about this as we could while still, you know, revealing, you know, in case he didn't know, this is his work, not Bathory's.
Yeah.
Let's see. Has he done how many metal bands, and has he done no metal band? Okay. We were the first metal band he ever worked with. He since went on to do artwork for a pretty cool throwback heavy metal band called Summerlands, if you guys know that one. Those guys were they were out on Relapse. I mean, they're pretty good actually. Different, but I think they played Hell's Heroes before. But they made contact with him on, I think, on account of us, Versafira. They knew his work and reached out to him, and he did a piece for them that came out really good. And no, he hasn't really done a lot with that. He never really got into that pop art realm the way like contemporaries of his like Giger did. He just stayed like as a fine artist and just kept it real. There's so much stuff of his that has never been seen, much of which I am literally sitting on now because my wife and I are now trustees of his work, and we are trying to get some of it placed in galleries and that sort of thing. We sold it.
Didn't you just do? Did that happen in Austin?
Yes, I did do a show for him in Austin at the A05 gallery, and selling art is hard. I didn't realize how hard it was. You're trying to get people to like, you're trying to convince people to like spend like $2,000-$3,000 on something, even though they may really love it. I mean, they're just like, wow, this is amazing. Oh wow, it's really expensive. You know.
I was going to spend $50. No.
Yes. Yeah. And again, that's what actually got me into this idea because I was going, how about something that everybody can do? Right?
Yeah, this is more, obviously in the economic range that's possible for people.
Yeah. And it doesn't, I don't want to speculate.
Is he signing each print? I forgot to ask.
He absolutely is. Yes.
Okay, so you're getting a real signature on each one. You're
getting I mean, there's an etched signature on the artwork itself on the print, but he's going to actually wet sign all of those as well.
Look at that for $50.
For $50, yeah, that's. I mean, it's.
If you knew about this type of stuff, that's a steal.
Yes, yeah. I mean, fair market price would be $100, but yes. I didn't want to do it that way. Joe and I talked about this, and I said,
if you went to a convention or something, yeah, you'd be paying $100 for that.
Easily.
Yeah, easily.
But we wanted everybody to be able to get it if they wanted it, and like I said, it's like if I can't move 100 of these, then I don't know what's going wrong with the world, you know.
Come on, Bathory freaks.
Yeah. I think mainly what's going on right now is just that the word isn't out enough, and part of the tricky part of it is that we don't, like I said, we're refraining from attaching the Bathory name to it.
Yeah.
So that creates a little bit of
if the Bathory name was attached to it, then more eyes would be. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
But you're trying to be ethical and not ride on that wave. I get it.
Yeah. Because all that would happen is if anybody from Black Mark or anybody came and tried to denounce it, then it would turn into a shoving match, because I would turn around and say, "You guys stole this originally. We're just taking it back." You know, I don't want to get into all.
Yeah.
You know.
I totally understand.
Yeah, and there's no need for that. That's not what this is about, and that's definitely not what Joe is about. He's not trying to.
But I did use Bathory in this thumbnail like crazy, so.
Yeah, no.
We're gonna try it.
No. Yeah, this is fair use in my opinion.
Yeah, this is a promotion.
Yeah, I had an interview with Corthon, or I was supposed to, back when I had the original Metal Enema show on FM, and I forgot to call him, and I was in my apartment. I went,
what?
Oh! Yeah, I forgot when it was scheduled. I was like an hour off, and I don't know. Or no, that's what it was. He was on the East Coast, and I realized that I screwed up because I was on Central Time and he was on East Coast Time. This is where I was used to moving back and forth all the time. I went, oh no, and I called the hotel and he was gone already, and I didn't even know who to ask for. I just said, I'm calling for Corthon, and they're like, oh, he just left. I'm like,
Son of a bitch, dude.
And this is for promoting Blood on Ice when that came out, which.
Yeah, that was a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, I didn't have any context at the time. It's probably better that I didn't interview him, because even though I was a fan of the early stuff, I had not researched him at all. Like, I hadn't paid attention to anything since Blood, Fire, Death, so I wasn't actually up on anything he was doing, and I didn't really know how to be a good journalist back then, because I was like 19. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
may not have been the best interview you could have possibly done.
Yeah, I actually had a different. Tell you what, let's play a song so we don't just bore everyone stiff here. Yeah. We are talking about Bathory. Let's go ahead and play something from them. I'll tell you a funny follow-up story to that.
Yeah, let's get in some Bathory here.
Here we go.
Like
There you go. All right.
Yeah.
We played 2. Fucking why
Hell
not?
yeah. That's
You can
cool.
never get tired of some fucking Bathory. If you do, get out of here.
Yeah.
No, Fraser's been bugging us to see if Joe would come on the channel. No, I'm like,
No.
I don't know about that,
No.
Fraser.
No.
Yeah, he's doing his own thing.
Yeah, he's not up on these types of formats. That's one of the things that makes him so
I totally get it.
unspoiled.
Yeah,
You know,
like, yeah.
he doesn't. I mean, he knows what YouTube is, but he doesn't. He's never been
Not
on a
his thing.
podcast. No.
Yeah.
I did a series of interviews with him about his techniques some years ago, and some of that interview made it into a really good book by metalhead and artist Dennis Dredd. He did a book
Oh, yeah,
called
I remember that dude.
Interarte Kunst. It was a compilation, and his artwork is featured in there, and his interview is featured in there. I will probably restart the josasmith.com site and turn that into like a receptacle for information on.
That'd be a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't running it for a while, and now it's kind of gone dormant again. And again, we're talking about someone who was born before World War II, and we're trying to like keep him into tech relevance, and
Yeah,
it takes a little working.
I draw pictures.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the right way to go. That's why we have a new version of Bathory Goat, in 2025. Let's see. I'm just looking at the comments. I agree completely. Under the Sign of the Black Mark is my favorite Bathory album, by the way.
Oh yeah, Haunted Hotel. I do too.
Yeah,
it's my favorite Bathory album. I heard some good arguments for the Return, like the Return's a little more brutal, or however you want to say it. And I'm like, yeah, but there's still something special about Under the Sign. It's just wow. I don't know.
I think Under the Sign was the real template for what came next. Like when you listen to songs off of there, you can hear Ishan's voice in the way Quorthon screams, just as an example. So many bands. And then, of course, Diabolical Full Moon Mysticism from Immortal. That is totally Under the Sign of the Black Mark.
For sure.
Yeah. So,
and also just the aura and atmosphere of them. Some of the songs are just like, damn, that's great. Yeah, it takes you into it, like.
Yeah.
That's great when music can do that.
Equimanthorn is really a classic. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Equimanthorn.
Yeah.
Remember that Bathory comp from like the cover album with like all the top Swedish black metal and Norwegian black metal bands years? That damn thing is good.
It is. Yeah. Apparently it was really contentious. Like there was permissions issues on that too. That was spearheaded by the guys from Dark Funeral. So yes, every Immortal album is just a different Bathory album. That's so true. That's so true. At the Heart of Winter is basically Hammerheart. For example, it's very true.
Yeah, there's some influence in there for sure.
I mean, I love early Immortal, but no, there's a lot to that. That's really funny.
Well, I mean, come on, that's what all those early albums were basing their fucking sound and scene on was Bathory.
Yeah,
like the early stuff, man.
Yeah, I think it's worth.
Emperor.
Yeah, Emperor covered Fine Day to Die.
Marduk. All those guys, like Bathory was the blueprint. How's that? I'll say.
Yes. And I would argue, like a lot of those bands from that era, from the 90s, also cited Sodom, but I don't hear nearly as much Sodom in anybody's work as I do Bathory.
Maybe in the Sign of Evil, that's like.
Well, yeah, but even then, I still hear a lot more.
But Bathory. Way more Bathory.
Yeah.
Bathory's like the king.
How many bands is Kabillion?
Yeah,
that's the answer to that.
Exponential number there, just keeps growing.
Jake mentioned that Quorthon is like his favorite soloist, and I like Quorthon solos a lot. They're nuts.
Yeah, they have a lot of style and feeling in them.
He and Tom G. Warrior were component on solos. They both had that same. And it happened right around the same time. I don't think they were copying each other.
No, because they were making music at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah. had that same attack and that same feel, just that crazy ripping, that I think bands like Deicide really kept alive in their early days. You know, just the totally fucked up solos.
This
You know,
shredding going for it. Yeah.
yeah. Let's see, Dark Funeral
Poser
covered.
alert. Nah, I'm just being a dick rager.
Dark Funeral covered Bathory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole bunch of bands on that comp and Conspiracy with Satan.
Yeah, if you can get that comp, it's like top notch,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I like Satiricon's cover of Born for Burning. That was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Countess Bathory. And it was also, yeah, it was the anniversary of Corthon's death just a few days ago. So this is actually
Yeah, so this is a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man,
We've
you want
got-
to play a couple
Yeah.
more songs? Or
Yeah,
you wanna...
go for it, please.
Yeah. I love hearing Bathory, so we'll play a couple more. This is going to be a shorter show. What do you think?
Yeah,
I
we'll
think we
wrap it
pretty
up
much
at
covered-
11.
Yeah, I think we covered everything.
Yeah,
Let's just jam out some Bathory, man.
hell yeah.
All right, there you go. He knocked out 3 jams because they're just so damn good.
Yes.
Dude, how many? Just a couple notes, right? Not
Mhm.
solo, but they sound great.
Let's see. What
No,
was the question?
no, I'm saying just a couple of notes in the solo, but they sound
Oh
great.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you can create so much, it doesn't always have to be 1,000 fucking notes. You can just, if it fits
Yes.
the formula, it fits the formula. It's like that. He was so good at that sometimes.
Yes. Golden Walls of Heaven is a complete motherfucking lift off of Hell Awaits, though. Like beat for beat, and it came out like 4 years later, I think. So um,
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes the influencers become the influence. Although, I mean, Slayer predates Bathory, so there's no getting around that. Slayer
yeah,
influenced fucking everybody.
yeah,
So
yeah. Especially back then, ain't no way.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Bloodfire Death is probably the most stolen album.
mhm.
Yeah,
And
lot of lifted from it.
I noticed this for the first time ever. Shit, what was the last track you just played?
Enter the
Um,
Eternal Fire.
yeah. Into the Internal Fire. It has the same 80s synth bell tone that is also used in the victory theme of Top Gun. You know, bong, na, 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 na,
That's hilarious.
bong, na, 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 na.
Um,
Yep, now you can't unhear it. Just imagine that song in like planes victoriously landing on
That's funny,
the
but it's
stars.
true. Yeah,
I mean, back then there was only like 3 synthesizers out on the market. You know,
you didn't have a variety to work with here. They all had to
yeah,
work with
everybody
the
was using the
same
same
deck of
voices.
cards. Yeah,
Yep, yep. So
that's
like
funny.
2 kinds of drum machines. Uh, some of you guys
That's
may
why all
not
the
know.
rap sounded the same because the
Yeah,
drum machines were all
yeah.
the
It's
same.
boop,
Yeah.
bap, boop, bap, boop,
Yeah.
bap. Yep,
What are you gonna
every
do,
time.
man?
Riding Christ and Barathron and all the formative Greek black metal bands all use the same drum machine on their
And this
initial
is
albums.
I'm gonna make this point for all my Manowar haters.
Hmm.
Manowar had a big influence on Cortone and Bathory.
They did.
Yeah, it sure did. I mean, yeah, Manowar got some fucking stinkers. I'm gonna admit it. But then they got some fucking shit that's fucking. Anything with Ross back in the day was always fucking really
Yeah,
solid.
and that's what I was never a big Manowar fan, but that's what everybody from, like, if you read old interviews and zines and stuff, Ross the Boss was
It's a
really
riff
important.
machine, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and he was really important to like helping other bands kind of find their way and stuff. Like he was really
yeah.
highly regarded. So,
He seems
um,
like a cool dude. He owns
yep.
a batting cage right up
Oh,
in New York or New Jersey.
I didn't know
Dylan's been
that.
to it. Yeah, Dylan and I think the Hemorrhoid crew. Maybe when they were
Yeah, yeah,
touring,
yeah.
they met him or
Oh,
not
wow.
supposedly, but yeah, he has an actual batting cage. That's like his thing. Yeah,
That's cool. That that's so funny too, because like all the East Coast guys, they get into jobs like that. It's all, blue collar, working with your hands, salt of the earth type of stuff. I mean,
oh
which
yeah,
is great, but it's just so funny. It's like, hey, what do you do for a living? I clean out septic tanks when I'm not on tour. That kind of thing. I think that's it. They're always in the trades, which that's what you want to be if you want to be like in a band. If
yeah,
you're
because you can just come and go and
Yeah, if you're working an office job, you're fucked. And I can
yeah.
I can attest to
You
that.
want
I
to
had
be?
to.
Yeah, I can too. You want to be gone how long? Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, it's a
Yep.
big. Those jobs you can quit them and get another one as soon as you get back. And
Yeah.
yeah,
They'll still need you when you get back, and you can just have your old job back.
yeah, it's not like you got replaced.
Yeah. If you're doing any kind of work that involves Excel, you're fucked. If you want to tour, you're not going to be able to keep that job.
Yeah, they'll just fucking hire some other dude to come in, some other monkey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't didn't you tell me the immolation guys were like all cable guys or something at one point?
Yeah. Immolation. Tom Wilkinson, the original one of the 2 original guitarists of Immolation, owned a cable company.
Shit.
Um, and Ross and Bob were like, I think Bob was like the office manager, and Ross did a lot of the field installation. Um, and that gave them flexibility to go out on tour because Tom was running things. It's part of the reason Tom left the band initially. I mean, getting an inhalation board, but he was trying to run his business and he couldn't keep leaving.
Well, yeah. I mean, owning a nice cable business or struggling out on the road, not sometimes the
Exactly.
road isn't for everyone.
No, I have to admit, since I got back from Europe, I've just been dying to go back. I'm like, I hit my stride, even though I was totally exhausted at the end of that run. Like, story I told about Finland. After I got 1 day of sleep, I was like, oh, I could have done another 2 weeks, easy. I don't know why I'm built for that. I'm not much of an outdoorsman.
Well,
And
remember the Marduk run? Right when it started hitting its stride, it was done.
oh yeah, I was like, we could have done 3 more weeks of this shit. It would have been
We could have
so
toured
good.
the whole fucking country. It would
Yeah.
have ruled.
Yeah.
It would have ruled.
But yeah, once I get my land legs with that, it usually takes about 4 shows, and then I'm good to go for a month.
Now this is a classic Frasierism. I thought they were from England.
They had an album called Hail to England.
That's where he's getting mixed up.
Could Hell to England album. Are you doing speech to text, man?
Yes, that's what he's doing. That's
Yeah.
what Frasier. He doesn't want to type out. He's too lazy.
Yeah.
But men wear. I love those fucking Frasierisms.
Yes. I one time was on back when I was a PI, I was working a case and I was driving in my car and I was at a stoplight and I was trying to respond to somebody quickly just with the speech to text. Like, hey, I'm on my way. I was like calling my partner. And then the person in front of me didn't move when the light turned green. And I was like, come on, you motherfucker. God, what the fuck is wrong with you? I just started yelling. Yeah, and I looked down and the whole text was full of
You fucking idiot. What's the matter
swearing
with you?
at this guy. That was so great. I went ahead and sent the whole thing to him too.
He's like, what the fuck is all this shit?
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, you know what? I need to do a couple of promotions here before we
by all means.
head out. Thanks for anyone sticking around. I hope
definitely
do order some prints.
Thank you if you did that. We really appreciate the support. It's a very worthy endeavor. And please spread the word. Keep that link handy.
Yeah. Spread
Let
this
other
video
people
around.
know
Spread
about
that
it.
link
Because
around.
if it doesn't make 100 sales, it's not happening. That's important to note. So.
Oh, yeah. You got to hit those mark with those Kickstarters. That's right. Yep.
100 copies worldwide. How hard can it be? Tell your friends in other countries.
Yeah. Spread it around. All right. So, Pius Levis, next show.
Oh, sweet.
Here in town with the mighty fucking Absu.
Hell yeah.
With Black Mariah, Antisma, and Black Jackal. We are second on the bill, so if you do one of those, I didn't know when you were playing, we're second.
Yes.
So if you want to see us on that build as well, make sure to get there. Black Jackal's good too. I mean, the whole fucking show. Just check it out.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Antisma, man, that's a blast from the past. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. It's cool. Always cool to see Rick. And then Tisma's good, and Black Mariah, and then, of course, Absu. The whole sunset. Fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to see them the next night in Austin.
You're going to go to the Austin show?
Yeah. I mean, you should go to both shows if you check out. I mean, that's a really good lineup for the San Antonio show. It's just obviously easier for me to go to Austin.
Drive across the state.
It's now like fucking 40 minutes almost for me to get to South Austin from where I live. Between traffic.
Remember when 35 it was like a quick drive, dude, and now it sucks.
It's dangerous as shit. The whole thing is under construction, and like people are getting killed.
Because they squeeze you in there like sardines, and of course people want to go like 110 miles an hour where they should be going like 30, 40 sometimes.
Yeah, there's some horrendous wrecks in the northern quarter, like kind of close to where I live. I don't go on 35 at all anymore. I take the toll road.
When I go to Austin now, I go up 281. I don't care if it takes a little longer. It's nicer. It looks cooler. You're in the hill country proper. Yeah. And it's just a funner drive.
Yeah.
Even though it might take a little longer, but fuck 35.
Yeah.
All right. And then from our show last weekend, our drummer, Mike, made some flyer shirts. These are pretty cool, man.
Those are cool.
Yeah. $10 plus shipping. That's pretty cheap.
See, that's a good deal, too.
Yeah, and they're like good quality, shirts. I think Fruit of the Loom or the other brand, I forget the other big brand, but they're not like junk shirts. And so if you want that one, contact necromikeb@gmail.com. He'll give you the details. I know we had quite a few XLs left because that's what the majority we printed. So if you want a shirt, contact them. And
Yep.
then my buddy, the Masked Man, Mordant Red, is
cool.
playing up in Houston on the 20th with Lord Humongous, two Masked Men.
That's is that what that dude is wearing on stage?
No, I don't. Well, no, I don't think so.
Lord Humongous? No,
Maybe he is wearing that.
fucking
I don't
should
know.
be.
You know what? I think you're right.
Killer. That looks
I think,
killer.
I think he did add the spikes to him. So I
Yeah,
could be
that's a
wrong,
good
yeah.
idea. Yeah, because that looks really cool.
So check that shit out. Whoop Skull and
Wolf Skull, our singer
Dave.
from Imprecation.
Yeah.
That's Dave. Yep.
Infuriator, Jucifer's band, cool. And then, boom, the next night they're here in San Antonio
Nice.
at the Odef Cafe. So I will most likely be at that show on the 21st of
Culebra. Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the hood.
Yeah.
So Fruit will be there, armed and dangerous.
Right, because he's like right down the street from there.
Yeah, it's right down from his house.
Yeah.
And also at these shows, Revik was saying this exclusive cassette release just for the shows between a split between Lord Humongous and Mordant Red. He says it's not the split that's coming out, the official one later. This is something else different. So
right on.
And then we got Jake Holmes, Spear Siege on the June 20th in San Antonio at Fitzgerald's Bar and Grill. Spear Siege first show with a bunch of other killer bands.
Yeah, that Spear Siege came out cool. Support that.
Yeah, I like it. He gave me a copy at the Pius Levis show. I've been jamming it. Good show.
Yeah. John Zig artwork. Classic Texas.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's good.
It's nice stuff.
Yeah, it came out really good.
So, I believe that's all the stuff I had to say.
Yeah, same here.
And the Houston swap meet, right? That's going down too.
So y'all want to swap meets? Yeah.
Carpenter's Corpse.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going unless David Vincent is there signing. Yeah.
And Francisco has to interview him again.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, he actually did the official interview at the show.
You should have asked him. He's like, has anyone ever said to you, Davy, stick your head in gravy? Do you remember that from Grimoire of Exalted Deeds? Remember that magazine?
Yes, I remember.
That guy, Bill Z. Bub, used to screw with everybody. He asked David Vincent that, and he actually got mad. He's like, what the fuck is your problem? What are you talking about? He wasn't kidding. He was actually mad.
Well, I mean, bringing up accusations.
Yes.
He's like, what the fuck is this guy getting at?
Yeah.
We all know the stories. You don't got to go over.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. Look, you know what's so funny about all the I'm not going to get into it, but all the very unsavory classic Morbid Angel stories is that I was always able to just accept that because
that is the mask.
Oh yes, awesome.
So that would be cool, man. Hell yeah.
Very cool. That all the really disconcerting Morbid Angel stories, I knew those from almost the very beginning.
Our little group did, yeah.
Yes, so that just came with the territory, and I just kind of accepted that. But then I realized just the other day, I was saying this, it's like if I found out that the same things happened with Deicide, I would have been very upset. And it's
dude, it would have been a weird thing. To, like for some reason, Dave Vincent doing all this stuff is just
it's not surprising.
It doesn't really like. Yeah, well, you know.
Yeah, you could kind of smell it on him in a way.
Yeah, but Glenn Benton would be like, "What the fuck?"
Glenn Benton. Yeah, Glenn and Eric had a thing. You know,
like that'd be fucking weird. I don't know.
Yeah, that would kind of fuck me up a little bit. I have to.
Yeah, that would like put me in a little brain loop of like.
Tom Ryan, Kerry King had a thing. What? You know. Yeah.
Jeff Hanneman hated it, but you know,
yeah. Jeff kind of.
That's why he drunk himself to death.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my god, that would be
we're gonna get in trouble.
No. Yeah. At this point, I'll go on the record saying that when it comes to like metal scandals, it's like these are guys in evil metal bands. They do fucked up shit sometimes.
Yeah.
The only thing I ever live in fear of is hearing about any of them messing with kids. When that happens, it's like because I'm out.
Kids?
Yes, because I'm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When I hear that, and it's happened a couple of times. Luckily, no band that I like, really worshipped and, couldn't live without. But man, I always worry about that going, oh, it turns out such and such is messing with kids.
Well, I mean, like the ones that do happen, they're usually like shocking because you don't expect it. It's like
Yeah.
and some
Yeah.
smells like weird.
That
Yeah,
shit.
kids are the limit. I mean, come on, that's fucking
Yeah.
gross.
It's like we talked about this before, but it's like it's worse than disappointing. It's egregious, and you just can't turn away from that. So,
Oh,
I
you're
mean,
at David Vincent's? Is he playing with your butthole, Fraser?
I met him. I met him a couple of times.
I met him a couple times too. I mean, the dude's actually an all right, nice guy.
Yeah, he's
I
all
have no
right. I
problem
mean,
with
I
him.
just, I just can't take him seriously anymore.
Just
that's
don't
all.
take a drink from him or something and be.
Ooh!
What is it
Yeah.
like a leopard I'm stalking?
Oh yes, like a cat. I'm stalking you.
Yeah. It's like
Bow to me faithfully. Bow to me. Yeah. Yeah.
That
He's
sounds like that.
buyer beware. Ouch.
Yeah.
I had my uncle was a country music musician, and he was actually friends with some guys who were like higher up the food chain. So he knew his shit. He was from the '70s, and I played him that "Drinking with the Devil" song. From,
what do you think
David
of that?
Vincent. Oh, I just said, I'm not going to tell you anything about this. Just tell me what you think about it. He goes, "This is the most faux country I've ever heard in my life." It's like, this guy, is he from Europe or something? And he just doesn't know what country music actually sounds like. And, it was really funny. Like a snake, I'm slithering
In your mouth.
with myself lubricating ass. No, sorry. That's a joke from the Marduk tour. The self-lubricating. Oh, that was, we came up with that one on the Illid Insanus whatever, yeah, avoid that.
Fraser doesn't kiss dudes apparently.
Just David Vince.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dave Vincent. Oh no! What if Fraser? What if what's his name? Hellstar guy.
Oh,
the singer. Fucking.
Oh yeah.
What if he
James
wanted to kiss
Rivera?
you? What if he wanted to give you a kiss, Fraser? How would that blow
James
your
Rivera
mind?
would want to bite him on the neck.
Yeah, he went for a little suck on you.
Now we're really gonna get in trouble.
Fraser would be like, I feel weird.
Yeah, I guess you can. Oh,
okay.
this is giving me tingles.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah,
Poor Fraser.
That's a great point. When you don't see it portrayed that often, but vampires can drink blood from anybody. It doesn't have to be a sexy woman. That's
correct.
Not,
Vampires
that's not the
are
point.
like,
Vampires drink blood
they
from
don't care.
anybody.
They're whatever. They're beyond that. So
Right.
It wouldn't be gay, Fraser, if he wanted to bite you on the neck.
Yeah,
Because he's a vampire.
but it seems like if you're a guy and you're not into other guys, and the vampire goes to bite you on the neck, you'd get all squeamish, like, like your last moments as a living being before you're vampirized would be like, gross.
What is this shit?
It's kind of like, it's like when you know CPR, like I know CPR, and luckily they don't really recommend a lot of the mouth to mouth anymore. You're supposed to just pump the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep the blood flowing. Like the mouth to mouth doesn't apparently do all that much. And I'm like, that's a relief, because if I ever needed to help somebody, if it's like some big fat dude or something, I really didn't want to have to give him mouth to mouth.
Like that Seinfeld episode where they want to give the guy mouth to mouth. Do you remember that one?
I don't know.
Yeah. The pool boy got knocked out, and they're
no.
And they're like, oh, well, you do it. Like,
Yeah.
you do it.
Yes. Yeah, guys are totally like that. They won't give someone mouth to mouth because they're squeamish. Like, no.
Put some plastic.
Yeah.
Like a toilet seat cover, just have some mouth covered. Stupid. All right, man.
Well, anyway.
So one last time, get this damn print, y'all.
Yeah.
Come on.
One more time in case you missed it. Let me grab it out real quick.
Yeah.
put it back in its protective cover because even though it's a test, this is the Bathory album version.
Yeah, let me solo this out one more time. And it will be signed.
It will be
Jos.
signed in ink by Jos A Smith, who created this. And again, you can see the detail on this. It is gorgeous. I mean, look, get up real close there. That's all done by hand, all that hatching. He sits there for hours with just a loop and does that. So it's like very, very alive. And yeah, you'll never have another chance to get a version of this with this kind of quality for that price ever again.
No.
Bob, go ahead.
You'll probably see these on eBay in a couple of years,
Yeah, probably. I mean, I hope not. I would love for everybody to just...
No, I hope that wouldn't be the reason why people would get them, but you never know.
Bob can say from Cannibal Corpse became a golf pro, and he works at a golf course in Western New York as a golf.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
There you go.
He's missed. He was a berserker. That guy was like part of what made Cannibal Corpse a dangerous band, you know. But anyway, someone Frazier wants a chick to bite him. Well, nope. Sorry, buddy. It's James Rivera. That's your only option.
Yeah. I think that's going to be your only vampire option, Frazier.
Yes. Yeah.
But he's the king of vampires. Maybe he can turn you into one, and you can have a bunch of lady vampires. But you got to get bit first. You got to volunteer.
You got to get bit first. You have to let the guy give you the hickey and get all squirmy and uncomfortable for a minute.
I'll fuck you guys.
Yeah. The prints will be shipped flat. No, they will not be rolled because that would actually compromise the integrity of the paper. No, they will be in protective. We will actually probably mail them in LP boxes, but with extra padding.
That's a good idea.
Slip
right
cover
there.
and everything.
Are they LP size?
Yes, they're 12 by 12. Yeah,
okay.
So we did that on purpose.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah, so we did that on purpose so you could take, like they have those LP frames that you can buy online if you wanted to frame like the cover of your favorite LP and put it on the wall. It'll fit right in one of those. Those aren't expensive, and again, these are not. You can do whatever you want with it, but these are not intended to be like put up with like not safety pins, but push pins or thumbtacks or anything. They really belong in a frame.
Yeah, so, you don't want to do that to these. No.
Yeah. Or that crappy double-sided like stick-em silly putty that people use to put up posters. That then
the double-sided tape or whatever.
Well, not even the double-sided tape, but that tacky silly putty style stuff you could use to hold up posters in your dorm room because the walls were just you couldn't put a tape on them. And then of course then it rips out the corners of your fucking posters when you take the
then you just paid $50 when it's get ruined.
Yeah, sticky back is what. Yeah,
sticky tack.
Sticky back is what a lot of people call a lot of different things, but no. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Yeah. That's sticky back is what you get if you hang out with David Benson. Yes.
Yeah. Hey,
when you bow to him faithfully.
When you go in the back of the tour bus, you want to try out the new sticky tack.
All right, enough shit talking.
Yeah, we've been shit talking too much.
Yeah. This is what happens when we have a loose agenda, everybody.
Yeah, let's promote Bathory and talk about Frazier getting bitten by James Rivera.
All right. Thank you, everybody. It was
thanks for
always a lot of fun. Thank you for supporting this initiative. It's much appreciated. I don't take it for granted. And again, please get the word out there. It's good until July 6th. So see how it goes. And thank you, Carl, as always, for supporting and for
coming on.
Come and hang out.
It's always fun, dude.
Yeah.
All right, I'll play a song or two on the way out, and then we'll see y'all next time.
All right, guys.
Later.
And